Hello everyone. Let's get started with our practice. Come to a comfortable seated position. If you're uncomfortable sitting on the ground, you may put a pillow or a cushion or even a rolled up blanket underneath your hips. Go ahead and close your eyes once you've found your seat. Let your palms face down on your knees, your elbows hang heavy. Just roll the shoulders back and away from your ears. Slowly begin to take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your entire body, growing a little taller. And then open your mouth and let it all go. Feel the breath move through the body. Again, deeply in through the nose, filling all the way up. Opening the mouth and letting it go. Noticing the pause between the inhale and exhale. Let's take one more. In through the nose. Opening the mouth, releasing completely. Now let's begin to transition the breath. We'll take a deep inhale through our nose, sitting up nice and tall, filling the belly, pausing at the top. And this time, as slowly as you can, let the breath back out through the nose, just letting it seep out, letting the shoulders, chest just fall. Again, deep inhale through the nose, filling up. And softly back out of the nose, letting it all go. One more time together. Deep breath in through the nose. Back out through the nose, nice and soft, long, easy breath. Continue breathing like this at your own pace. And notice how you feel now as compared to when you first started this practice a couple minutes ago. Today we will focus on being present because a lot of the times we are living in the past or in the future, and these thoughts and this association with connecting to what isn't happening now is usually what creates anxiety. When we can bring our awareness to our body and our breath, it can help us to be present, and even better, we can connect with our parasympathetic nervous system, which allows us to be calm instead of the fight or flight that can make us feel anxious. So today we're going to begin with some simple movements of the spine. You're welcome to keep your eyes closed if it feels good, or you can have a soft open gaze if you prefer. These seated poses were first created to prepare the body for meditation, so ultimately they should help your overall posture. We'll begin by taking a breath in and sitting up a little taller through the crown of our head. We'll roll out the neck, so as you slowly exhale, let one ear fall to one shoulder, and then circle the chin down towards the chest. Upon your inhalation, take the other ear to the other shoulder, and then rise the head straight back up. We don't want to drop the head back because we don't want to crunch those delicate fibers in the back of the neck. So do this a few times, just rolling out the neck in this direction. Going slow and always feeling free to pause anywhere along the way. Just allowing the movement to feel good, letting any tension out of the neck and the shoulders. The next time you rise up, use that big inhale to sit up nice and tall. And as you exhale, simply change the direction of the circles, going about 3 times in the opposite direction. It can be hard to match the movement with the breath, so if you do lose that pattern or that rhythm, don't worry. Just be aware of your breath and aware of how the movements are feeling in your body. So just one more time around, nice and easy. Just let it feel good. And then just rising back up when you're ready. We're going to do the same circular motion, but with our entire torso. So we'll inhale, just kind of lift the heart space a little. As you exhale, guide the heart towards one knee, any amount, and then sweep it around over to the other knee, and inhale back up to sitting. So just circling in this direction a couple more times. You might feel this in your lower back or your side waist or even your hips. Just loosening everything up. Using your next inhale, we'll sit up nice and tall. And then exhale to change the direction of those torso circles. You can make these as big or as small as you'd like. Just let it feel good for your body. Letting the breath still be present here in your movement. We'll take one more round. And then coming back up to a nice tall seat. Using an inhale, we'll sweep our arms all the way up for the sky, using that entire breath in to rise. And as you exhale, taking one hand down to the ground beside you, give yourself a little space away from your hip, and then reaching overhead with the opposite arm, making sure that that palm is facing down over your head to keep your shoulder protected. And think about that lower elbow kind of bending in towards your hip for a deeper stretch. Keeping your hips rooted to the mat. Taking another breath into the side stretch. And then we'll inhale, reach both arms up for the sky, just growing some length to the spine again. Exhale, we'll go over to that opposite side, just giving yourself that space, palms facing down so the shoulder doesn't crunch up to the ear. And thinking about keeping the chest open, so maybe kind of rotating the heart a little bit more towards the sky. Shoulders relaxed. One more breath here. Anchoring through the hip, reaching out through the fingertips. And then inhaling both arms all the way up. As you exhale, we're going to take a twist. So we'll turn to one side, letting that arm fall behind us, fingertips to the ground. And then your hand in front comes to that opposite knee that you're twisting towards. We'll inhale, sit up nice and tall. And then exhale, think about squeezing an imaginary sponge that's in your lower belly. So that can kind of engage the twist and really help you to detox your spine. You can look over that back shoulder if you'd like. Taking another breath, using that exhale to squeeze that imaginary sponge, really rotating the heart. And then our next inhale will unwind, sweep those arms up for the sky, long spine. And exhale, we'll twist to the opposite side. So opposite hand to knee. That hand behind you, that arm is like a kickstand for your spine. So instead of leaning back into your back arm, we want to use that arm to sit up a little taller. So notice here you want your head directly over your tailbone. Using those exhales to squeeze the sponge, really spiraling the spine from the base up through the crown as you gaze over that back shoulder. Use the next inhale to unwind. Let's bring both arms all the way up one more time. And as you exhale, we'll take prayer hands and slide them down in front of the heart space, reminding ourselves of our intention of being present today. Noticing how when we do these poses on our mat, we can be a little bit more present in our body and in what we're doing, and there's less space for the mind to wander. So go ahead and take your feet out in front of you, flat onto the ground if you can, and just a generous bend in the knees, nothing too crazy. We'll take the hands behind us and the fingers will face forward. So we're going to work on opening up the heart a little bit, a little heart opener, a little back bend. So squeeze the shoulder blades together on your back as you roll the shoulders back, and just think about puffing up the heart towards the sky. So pressing down through your sitting bones, but growing tall through the chest, really broad through the chest. You're welcome to stay here. If you do want more challenge, you can work on lifting your hips up for an upward facing tabletop. Working on lifting those hips as high as the knees if they'll let you. And you can either keep your gaze forward. If it feels good, you can let the head be in line with the spine where you look a little more upward. Or very gently, if you have a healthy neck and you want to let your head drop back, you can open up the throat there. So just feeling that opening through the front of the spine. We'll inhale. If your head's dropped back, just let it be the last thing to reset. As we exhale, we'll lower the hips, reset them to the ground. And you can just kind of roll out those wrists a little bit, shake them out if you'd like. I'm going to let those knees flop open into our bound angle pose. So the bottoms of the feet are together. You want to try to sit up out of your hips. So if your heels are really close in and it's making you roll back over your tailbone, go ahead and scoot the feet a little forward just to help you sit up tall. You can always add that cushion again under the hips if it helps. We'll inhale, think about puffing up the chest, really broadening the chest here. And then on our exhale, we're going to start to fold down. And you can just let the back round, releasing its grip, just really letting this feel good for your back and your hips and your groin, and just letting the whole body relax. Taking a few breaths here. If it feels nice, you might massage out your feet a little bit. You can always gently rock it side to side. We never want to force anything or do any intense movement, so don't flap the wings in this butterfly. Just soften and breathe. And just taking one more breath here. This pose for me is really meditative. It feels really good. Awesome. And then we'll slowly begin to rise back up. And you can just sweep the feet behind you. We're going to go into a tabletop position on all fours. So coming onto hands and knees, and you can always place more cushion or a blanket or a folded up towel under your knees if you do need some more support there. Sometimes we have bony knees that kind of dig in. And just make sure that you're spreading your fingers wide, trying to align your wrists under your shoulders and your knees under your hips. We'll manipulate the spine a little bit more. This is just great for spinal health and overall awareness in the body. So as you inhale, let's start to drop the belly down for cow. So as we're going to lift our tailbone and really reach our heart forward. Maybe the chin lifts a little. And as you exhale for cat, you're going to start to round the back up to the sky, kind of like a big beach ball was inflating under our belly. Drop the head, drop the tailbone. So let's take a couple more rounds, inhaling for cow as you start to sink the belly, lift through the tailbone, reach through the chest. And then exhale, reversing the motion, just kind of like your breath is like a wave rolling through your spine in this movement. And we'll take one more just like this, inhaling through that cow spine, opening up the front of the body. And then exhaling to round the back, opening up through the back body. And coming into neutral here, we're going to tuck our toes and just start to lift our knees and walk the hands in and up so we can come all the way up to standing. Go slow, don't want to get lightheaded or dizzy. Take your time if you need to get there a different way. And once we get to standing, let's place our feet right underneath our sitting bones. So a little narrower than the widest part of your hips, kind of like where those hip bones are, just straight down. And finding the outside edge of the feet parallel to one another. So there's like this slight pigeon toe that's going to create an inward rotation through the thighs. So kind of see if you can create that there. And take the palms to face forward, fingers spreading wide, and imagine like you're holding a feather between your shoulder blades as you open up through the front of the chest. Let the chin kind of pull in and up very, very subtly so that the back of the neck is long and the crown of the head is reaching upward. And see if you can, in this pose, pull the lower belly muscles in and up to create a little support for the lower back and the pelvis. So this is our mountain pose, or in Sanskrit we call it Tadasana. So really just an overall awareness of our body. It's kind of like our seated meditation pose that we started with, but now standing. So just taking a nice deep breath here. In through the nose, we'll grow up a little taller. And just softly out of the mouth, just let it go. Noticing how you feel. Awesome. Let's take our hands behind our back. You can interlace your fingers, and if that grip is really uncomfortable, feel free to hold. There's like a yoga strap or a belt works really well, or you can even just hold a rag or a towel, something to help you keep those hands bound in a way. And we'll roll those shoulders back and just puff up the heart. And you can let the spine be in a circular shape, so kind of like that cow back. Pull the hands a little bit back and down, and the heart a little bit forward and up in opposition. Just stretching out here. And then we'll take the fist or the bound hands of any sort and just bring them to one hip. So getting into the side of our neck a little bit, we'll let that ear fall to the shoulder. So you're letting the head fall to the same side that your hands are on, whichever waist side of the waist that is. Stretching out. You can even rock the chin a tiny bit forward and back if that feels good. And then inhale back through center. So the head rises, the arms extend any amount. And exhale those hands to the opposite hip or waistline and just dropping your ear towards that same shoulder, that same side that you're working on as you feel the other side just really opening up, breathing there, maybe a little movement or maybe stillness feels good. And then slowly coming back to center, we're going to release the grip and inhale, reach the arms all the way up for the sky, big upward stretch. And then exhale, bend the knees a little bit, start to fold all the way down over those bent knees, thinking belly to thighs for a moment. And then we're going to walk it forward into our tabletop position again. Good. Here in this tabletop, go ahead and take your hands just about a handprint forward and just begin to draw some big circles with your hips, big wide circles, just smoothing it out, noticing how the hips feel. And then we're going to take those circles in the opposite direction, just kind of getting ready for a little hip love. Since we were seated for a while, this should feel really good before our relaxation. Awesome, and then we'll just let the feet go to one side. You can walk the hands in until you come into a sitting position, placing the feet flat on the floor in front of you. If you'd like more core challenge, reach the arms forward, or you can have the hands on the backs of the thighs as you just gently roll all the way down onto your back. Awesome. So when you get onto your back, just make sure the spine is nice and neutral, nice and rested. We're going to cross our right ankle over our left knee. If you're really tight in the hips, this is a great place to stay, and you can just use your right hand to press your right knee forward and keep your right foot flexed. If you want more, you can lift your left foot up off the ground, weave your right hand through the keyhole of your legs so that you can interlace your fingers behind your left thigh or even at the top of your left shin if that feels like a better grip. And just here trying to relax those shoulders. So thinking about pressing the backs of the shoulders into the floor and keeping an open chest. Also here, we want to think about keeping the chin a little tucked so that the back of the neck is long. So if the head is kind of poured back and the chin is high, you can always place a cushion under the head for a little bit more support. So we'll take another breath here into what we feel in our outer right hip. And then we're going to release that stretch. You can release, maybe even kind of windshield wiper those knees a little side to side, loosen it all up. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So we've got that left ankle now crossing over the right knee. And we can either stay here pushing that left knee forward, or for a deeper stretch, we'll pull that right leg in and making sure wherever you are to keep that left foot flexed. That's going to protect your left knee as we stretch the hip. So taking some loving breaths into your hips. They endure a lot of tension. We tend to hold a lot of past stress and emotion in our hips. So this is a good time to soften and let go from any negative attachments in the hips. Take another breath. Awesome. And then slowly just let it all go. Can rock it out if you'd like, but we're going to take our knees to our chest and actually just rock the body side to side a little bit. So massaging out the back. Hopefully you're on a harder floor. Mine's a little squeaky, so bear with me. You can even circle your knees around. This will create a little bit more massage for the lower back or the sacrum, the flat triangular bone that's positioned right above your tailbone could get really tight. So move those circles in both directions. And then when you're ready, just come to a neutral place. Maybe you can just kind of squeeze those knees in for a moment. Add a little tension before our final relaxation, which is just the opposite, letting go of all the tension. So for our final relaxation today, we're going to come into constructive rest. So let your feet be on the ground in front of you with the knees bent, and let your feet be a little wider than your hips, about the width of a yoga mat, as you let the knees fall in together to rest on one another. And this will open up that sacrum, give your lower back the support that it wants. If this is uncomfortable, you can lay flat with the legs or find a different shape. And let's take our palms to face up a little bit away from our body. So take up a lot of space here with the arms. And this palms facing up is a gesture of receiving your practice. This is where we just let the whole practice kind of come together. And you don't have to do anything, think of anything. You don't even want to control the breath here. Just let it be easy and relaxed. And I'll let you know here in just a couple of minutes when the practice is over. We'll all complete it together. So let yourself just soften the mind and soften the body for another few moments. Take a moment to just be aware of your body and You can invite a nice deep breath in and out at your own pace. Start to roll out your wrists and extend your legs out long in front of you and stretch your arms back like you just awoke from a deep nap. Big full body stretch. And then we'll hug the knees in, and you can either take a rock up to a sitting position, or you can roll to one side, even pausing if you'd like, before you press all the way up into the same seated pose we started in. As you've made it, take your hands to a prayer position in front of your heart. And thank you so much for taking this time to practice with me today. The light in me sees the light in you. Namaste.